Hello and welcome. This is Vow of the Knight-Aspirants, the Gloaming Rite, a one-shot being played as part of the shared Hearth open gaming weekend. I am Alexi. I will be the GM of this session. And if you want to learn more about the shared Hearth weekend, about open Hearth gaming, you can learn all about this great group of gamers and the RPGs that we are playing at openhearthgaming.com. This particular game is a one-shot of Vow of the Knight-Aspirants, which is a game that I am designing. So it's an in-development, powered by the Apocalypse game from Cloven Pine Games. The concept of Vow of the Knight-Aspirants is you are squires on the cusp of knighthood, venturing into the perilous realms of Castany on a quest to prove yourselves worthy and discover the magical and elusive Tower Perilous. What wrongs will you right and lessons will you learn along the way, squires? So it's a game of fantasy adventure inspired by Arthurian legends, fairy tales, and classics of young adult literature, such as Tamara Pierce's Tortall books. Playbooks in this game are modular, so everyone has two playbooks that are each presented as a half of a heraldic shield they put together. So as we hear about our characters in a moment, we'll get to hear about what playbooks they have. So first, let's do a quick round of just introducing ourselves as players. I'll ask each of my players to introduce themselves with name, pronouns if you wish, and online handle if you so desire. And then we'll go background and start meeting the characters. So I'll start that. I am Alexi, he, him, and you can follow all of my gaming endeavors online at Cloven Pine Games. So Cloven Pine Games on itch.io, Substack, Twitter. And I'd love it if you checked out the games that I've created and that I'm working on. I'll use the character keeper order here. So Annie, tell us about yourself first.
Hi, I'm Annie. I use she, her pronouns, and I have nothing to follow online. I am mysterious.
Very good. Steven, tell us about yourself.
Hi, my name is Steven. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm just a open hearth player. Yay.
It's good to have you. Mario, you're up next.
Hi, I'm Mario. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm just excited to play your game.
Excellent. And lastly, Jonathan.
Hi, my name's Jonathan. My pronouns are he, him. I'm also very excited to play your game, Alexi, and I'm also a game creator at V2S Games.
Wonderful. Well, good to have you all here. Let us start to meet our characters. So, Annie, if you would, tell us, please, about your squire.
So, Malgwyn Corby is the serpent and the hourglass. What would you like me to get into? Backstory, playbooks?
Yeah. So, serpent and the hourglass are the playbooks. Tell me about the kind of the picks that you made for, his vibe, his look, and then definitely tell us the lessons that you're starting off with.
Mm-hmm. So with the Serpent playbook, the background option I picked was the Scion of Heretics. So I think his parents started out as valorous followers of the king, were trusted with a border march, and gradually lost hope and did not betray the king, but they closed themselves off, would not answer a summons, would not accept any message. And Malgwyn is attempting to reverse that and attempting to earn back that honor of service.
That's fantastic.
He is cautious. His sword had to be reforged from the closed off years. His lessons, he's seen that no one is immune to the glamour of evil, and I will reframe that a little bit as well, even if the evil seems mundane or seems the evil of hopelessness. But that knowledge, even of misfortune, is a priceless gift. So he wouldn't trade this background that he's coming from. He thinks this is valuable knowledge to have of that danger, but he's going to attempt to warn people or to share whatever he can of what he's seen.
How open is he about this kind of prophetic gift that he has, thanks to the Hourglass playbook?
Not very, unless he sees something that is leading somebody into a danger or into a desperate situation, and then he'll jump in.
Nice.
But if they're in a place of safety, he does not want to acknowledge it, and he definitely does not want to be praised for it.
And just making sure I'm tracking this backstory. Are his parents still alive? Like, is that kind of closed off, bit of the kingdom still extant, or did some crisis come that ended that period?
I would say they're still alive. I don't think he has seen them in whatever time he's been away training.
Do they know where he's gone? I mean, like how on board are they or not with the project he's engaged in here?
I would say they know. They acknowledge that it's his choice, and they have essentially closed themselves off to him as well.
I see. Love it. Great. Lots of stuff going on for Malgwyn Corby. Anything else we should know before we move on to the next of our squires?
I think he does have an older sister as well. And she is very much the opposite. She's something like 10 years older, and she was born before this struggle and this time of hopelessness really set in. So she is all valor and everything a knight should be wherever she is at the moment. And he's always been contrasted with her. He's was never mistreated for it, but he always has this association of being the child of misfortune. And there's just always been that contrast between them that he's just accepted as part of his identity.
The proud tradition of leaning all in on the drama as the Serpent playbook. I love it. Stephen, you're up next. Please tell us about your squire.
Tonight I'm playing Nimrei Everon, and Nimrei, whose pronouns are she, her. Nimrei is the Falcon, and the Falcon, which is a Blade Master, and the Chalice, which is a healer playbooks. And she was raised by. I took the background of Marshall. She was raised by one of the local blacksmiths, who knows weapons very well, and so she learned most of her swordplay from her father, Morant. And then at the same time, as she was young, she learned about anatomy from her mother, Isolde, from butchering game that was, found in the nearby forest, and from mending wounds from neighbors and such. And she found that she was more effective as a fighter if she used her knowledge of anatomy in order to fight. Which is why she's considered a blade master. There are certain places where if you slice with a sword, of course, the person can't move nearly as well.
Nice. Yeah, I see how that would increase her effectiveness. Tell me about the lessons that you live with.
So my lessons are: the truest blade is owned by unceasing vigilance and discipline. So I practice, several hours a day. It's something that has become slightly annoying to the others, where I'm constantly out practicing and making noise, and I find this to be relaxing, and it helps me get into the zone, so to speak. My other lesson is the first step towards healing is acknowledging one's own wounds. So I must, know what makes me weakest in order to become stronger.
I like it. So you, at some point, you kind of entered into the path of becoming a knight. Was that something your kind of blacksmith mentor encouraged you to do, or something you kind of set out of your own initiative to try to earn?
No, I think from a very young age, my father always expected me to become a knight and drove me in that direction. In fact, he helped quite a bit by taking payment for training that I would need towards becoming a knight.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I see you've marked a tarnish to start, which was the thing I allowed players to do to kind of I bribed them with XP to start off with one of their stats tarnished. So you have marked abandon, cheer tarnished with abandon. So we'll see how that manifests as we start play. Anything else we should know about? Is it Nimrei?
Nimrei, yeah.
About anything else we should know about Nimrei before we go to the next squire?
So I think that the swordplay, there's of course a playbook move towards helping to fight, but the healing move is interesting in that if I clear a tarnish for myself or help someone else clear a tarnish, I mark that tarnish and then can unmark it in order to get a bonus. For
Yes.
example, with the tarnish of abandon that we just discussed, if I can clear that, then I mark that down in my healing ways section, and then I can unclear that in order to offer encouragement to two people at once.
Yep.
So there's all these little power things that I can do as a healer.
Yeah. You're kind of, you want to kind of collect them all. It's like, ooh, you've got a tarnish I haven't healed before. I gotta deal with that to power up my my healing ways extra.
Yep.
Precisely. Very good. Then let us meet the next of our squires. Mario, will you tell us please about your character?
My character is Griffin Godfrey. He's from a royal family. The playbooks I combined are the Foal and the Bridge. I guess he's still a little bit naive. So a young
Indeed.
squire who wants to be a knight, but doesn't really know that much about the world, and has to probably prove himself. He has a sword that was made for him, and he never used it before. So maybe today's the day. He has flowing hair and sparkling eyes. And the lessons he's got are hesitation is for the faint of heart and small of soul. And try as hard as you can to understand someone's point of view before judging them.
I love it. So since you picked the royal background, I have to ask, are you related to the king, King Hadithar, or this is another option, are you connected to one of the kind of realms that has sworn fealty to him? Because the lore of the game, which I'm not gonna hold us to super tightly, but I'll mention it, is there's High King Hadithar and then a couple realms within his realm of Castany, that some of which have their own royals that have now kind of sworn fealty to the High King. So you can kind of, if you're picking the royal background, you can decide, like, are you connected to that high royal house or one of the royal houses that have been incorporated into his realm? Like, how much, when people look at you, do they think like, oh yes, it's the crown prince, or do they think like, oh, it's someone from one of these other realms that has become part of the kingdom?
I don't think he's the crown prince or a direct heir. He's just one of the houses, one of the other houses, and
Great.
Maybe not even there the firstborn.
Okay, so he's royal, but not like in line to inherit. One of those kind of extra royals you have to find something to do with.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Tell me about the lessons that you hold.
Hesitation is for the faint of heart and small of soul.
Mm-hmm.
And try as hard as you can to understand someone's point of view before judging them. I think you can find his naive point of view in some of this, because he doesn't hesitate. He's just like, just do it, just try it out. It won't hurt. Sometimes it does hurt, actually. And he wants to understand the perspectives of other people, and maybe he is too good-hearted sometimes.
We'll see, but maybe. Yes. Great. So he wants to be a bridge, He has this kind of bright-eyed view of the world. I like this guy already. Anything else we should know before we meet the last of our quartet of squires here?
Not yet. I guess the rest I'll have to play to find out.
That's the motto of the game. Jonathan, tell us please about your squire.
Sure. My squire is Kaldwyr Zangren, a noble from a noble family. The Zangren family are one of the most prominent supporters of King Hagathar. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alexi, are we in the realm of Luthenville? Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, that's that's kind of the capital, the capital of the kingdom.
The capital of Cassidy, is that
Yes.
is that the right?
Yeah.
Excellent. So if it's okay with you, I'd like the Zangren noble family to be a prominent supporter of King Hagathar. Noble and wealthy family. Yep. Kaldwyr is the son and heir of the house, and carries the sword of his great-great-grandmother, who was one of the most famous knights of the Order of the Rose.
Nice.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So as such, he feels entitled to become a member of the Order of the Rose one day. Though he understands there's a standard that must be met, which he practices and trains for, but isn't really all that concerned about that he won't make it. He's very proud of his lineage and likes to teach people about his family's august history. And he generally cares about his friends and family and those who aren't as noble or fortunate as him in the realm, and wants to protect them, and feels it's his duty to protect them and learn more about their troubles so that he can help.
Nice. Kind of a noblesse oblige thing.
Yes. Both well-meaning and potentially incredibly intolerable.
We'll see. Yeah,
we'll see how he develops.
Is there like a rose insignia on that great-great-grandmother's sword?
Absolutely, for sure. Great. Yeah.
Great.
And thorn, like vines and thorns and stuff, like
Nice. The whole pen
the whole 9 yards. Yeah.
Images. Tell me about the lessons that you hold.
Yes, Kaldwyr's lessons are: it is no vice to take pride in a legacy of excellence, and make a resolute stand, and evil will break itself against you.
Nice. It's real, strong, intense perspective on both kind of personal merit and the conflict of good and evil on the battlefield. It feels like.
Yeah, I should mention that I chose the temperament of the stag and the aspiration of the oak.
Yes, yeah, the stag and the oak. So we've got this noble heir bearing this legacy weapon, and committed to making a strong stand in defense of those in need. I love it. Let's take a moment then to draw some connections among our characters. And for this, I'm going to ask each of you to identify which of your fellow squires, your compatriots on this quest, which one lives by a lesson you admire, and which one has ideals you question. So for this, consulting the lessons that everybody else has will probably help you figure it out. I'll mix it up and have Steven start this off. So for Nimrei, which of your fellow squires lives by ideals you admire, and which by lessons you question?
So I think Sir Zangren, I find fascinating because he comes from such a noble house that that's something that I aspire to, that noble lineage. And the second question was,
who lives by ideals you question?
I think in the same regard, I'm going to say Sir Godfrey, because Sir Godfrey doesn't seem to have the experience needed that I would think would be natural to a noble house.
Oh, nice. So these
I expected more.
Yeah, these two are from this aristocratic or even royal background, but they have really different. They strike you as like really differently prepared for the ordeal of knighthood. And you're not sirs yet because you're still squires. But yeah, I that sounds good to me. If that sounds good to your fellow players, let me jump over to. I'll go to Jonathan. Of your fellow squires, who lives by ideals you admire, and whose lessons do you question?
I love Stephen's choices because I'm going to choose that Sir Zangren admires Sir Godfrey, because trying as hard as you can to understand someone's point of view before judging them is very much Kaldwyr interprets that as a way of trying to help others and being patient and protecting them, and Sir Zangren is always aspiring to do more of that, and so admires Sir Godfrey, and I think that they would probably know each other quite well, both being nobles. So I think that being familiar with Sir Godfrey, I think perhaps might feel being a noble might also feel a bit more of a familiarity with Sir Godfrey.
Who lives
on the
by
flip
ideals?
side,
Yeah.
On the flip side, I think I'm tempted. This one's a toss-up because I think that there's both Nimrei and Malgwyn have lessons that Kaldwyr questions. I think Kaldwyr doesn't subscribe to no one being immune to the glamour of evil because he believes that he is, and doesn't value knowledge quite as much as Malgwyn, and also doesn't believe that the truest blade requires unceasing vigilance or discipline, which is Nimrei's lesson, because he thinks that it's given by birth,
right?
Or it's inherited, like through the legacy of your ancestors.
And there's a certain inherent merit.
But I think that I'd like to bring. I think I'd like to choose Malgwyn for this, and the immunity to the glamour of evil. I think that's juicier, and
Malgwyn's too pessimistic. Thinks evil can entrap everyone, but you're pretty sure. You're pretty sure.
Yeah, and even more so that believing that makes you exposed to evil. Like if you were confident in your ability to withstand it or be immune from it, you wouldn't be as susceptible. And I think Sir Zangren is a bit wary of Malgwyn.
That's great. Yeah, sound good to our players. Then Malgwyn, I'll give you the chance to go next. Annie, tell me about who has lessons you admire and who has ideas you question when Malgwyn looks at his fellow squires.
Yeah, that's perfect because that's exactly the one I was going to call out as well. Malgwyn definitely thinks that Kaldwyr is entirely too cocky and overconfident, and that is going to come back and bite him sooner than later.
Great. Yeah, that feels right for this dynamic between these two. The like golden boy and the one who's trying to redeem this very difficult legacy. So then, but someone has ideals you admire.
Yeah, and both of the other two I think were options for that. I think Malgwyn does think that trying to understand someone's point of view is admirable and would probably like to do that more. But I think the one I'm going to go to is Nimrei's, that the first step towards healing is acknowledging one's wounds. That is essentially what Malgwyn is trying to do and is trying to encourage others to do, which doesn't mean he's succeeding at it, but he would like to.
Great. I think that makes sense. It's Griffin that needs to go, right? So Griffin, tell me about who has lessons you admire and who has ideals you question.
Yeah, I think the knowledge even of misfortune is a priceless gift resonates with my point of view idea. So I want to get to know something or someone before I judge them. And so even if it's something bad, I'm the wiser in the end. So that's something I admire. And the make a resolute stand and evil will break itself against you. So I'm naive, but that's kind of, if the evil is so bad and so evil, so your resolute stand might not hold. So that's kind of a thing I don't agree with.
That's interesting. You feel there's some overconfidence represented by Kaldwyr's point of view. Is that right?
No, I don't. Maybe I'm not, or it's not his view or his overconfidence, but it's like maybe there's something out there that's so evil that even your resolute stand might not be enough. Just
maybe there is. I guess we'll find out. So we've got these wonderful squires, and we've built out some connections between them. How are we feeling? Do we want to just to drop into play and play a little bit here? So my instinct is to do kind of a cold open and kick off with some action, and then you'll get your chance to catch your breath probably after resolving that. So here's how I think this starts. We'll say that our questing squires had already hitched a ride on a peddler's cart headed to the village of Harrowdale. It is in the region of Gascaria, this kind of swampy, fairly dark realm within Castany. But some clue you found points towards Harrowdale as the place you need to be to find your the next stage of your quest for this Tower Perilous. And so you were on this cart pulled by a sturdy old horse, moving along like one of the like few kind of solid paths through this more swampy region, heading towards a this kind of relatively small and isolated village that for some reason is the next place you need to be, and we pick up with the cart under attack by bandits. So the horse has come to a whinnying stop because a fallen tree was like pulled across the road as a roadblock, and as soon as the cart stopped and the four of you started looking around, trying to understand what had happened, from the trees emerge a half dozen bandits, brandishing clubs, bows and arrows, a sword or two, seemingly intent on raiding what is aboard this cart, and taking away the necessities being brought to this isolated village. And I'm gonna start with Kaldwyr. Kaldwyr, bandits are attacking the peddler's cart. What do you do? And give us and tell us give us the opening establishing shot of your character as you're telling me this.
So are we all seated inside the cart? Is that or are we walking outside like as protectors, or on horseback?
I'm gonna say, if you started out on horseback, your horses have been lost somewhere along the way. Like at this point in your quest, you don't have horses with you, because horses are logistically tricky to sometimes even remember they exist. Like we get these kind of quantum horse phenomenon. So I'm gonna say, not on horseback. You were hitching a ride with this in this cart. You can be either still in the cart or have stepped out of the cart as you take your action here.
Okay. Well, I think Kaldwyr leaps out of the cart, vaults out of the cart,
Nice.
Draws his great grandmother's sword, and the ring resounds, and cries for the protection of the realm, and in his naivete, and charges, comes squires, and charges into the fray.
Great.
And
So
to do battle.
charges immediately in. Beautiful. We'll have you roll to do battle in a moment. I'm just going to pull our other squires, get a sense of what they are doing. Malgwyn, what do we see? What do we see you doing as the story opens here?
Yeah, I think Malgwyn has just been trudging along beside the cart, just eyes on the road, very in his own world. Here's this alarm, here's this commotion. In this scene, are we only seeing the bandits come from one direction? Have they sprung an ambush on us? What am I seeing there?
Oh, interesting. So you're taking a look around. Are they attacking from multiple directions?
That's the immediate. I see them here. They're active. They're making a spectacle. Where else are they? It's never one.
That's awesome. I'll give you for free. There's some suspicious rustling from the woods on the other side. But possibly we're going to see you roll search for truth in a moment. Griffin, what's your how do we see you reacting to what's starting to unfold here?
At first, I'm surprised, then confused, then I jump to conclusions, and in front of my colleague, Kaldwyr, in front of him, raising my arms, and I'm like, to the bandits, of course, you don't have to do this. I know you've probably been robbed yourselves, or you're poor. I don't know. We can solve this without weapons, without violence. Please stop this. Because I got a temperament move that might trigger here.
Totally classic full move. Is that cool with you, Kaldwyr, if we let Griffin roll that first and see if he's able to kind of step into the fray and cause a pause for here?
Yeah, I think especially if Sir Godfrey, like kind of steps in front of Kaldwyr and like puts a hand on his chest, to kind of hold him back. Like, absolutely.
Okay, cool, thanks.
So we'll have you. So just Nimrei, just checking your kind of initial reaction, and then probably the first thing we'll roll is that Griffin move.
So I think that I've been jogging alongside the cart, and I think whenever the it's obvious that the obstruction comes into view, and the bandits kind of step out, I run up next to the cart where my sheath is, and I pull out from that my saber.
Nice.
And brandish it while Godfrey tries to take care of this, but I think I'm basically backing up Sir Zangrin. I refer to him out of naivete a little bit because he comes from such a noble family. Surely he's a sir.
Surely he's a sir. Right.
Seems to be a running gag in our crew.
Exact nuances of when you earn that honorific or maybe lost on you. That's great. Griffin, Godfrey, you have a move, which is.
Should I read it out?
Yeah, let's read that out, and then we'll roll it.
Yeah. It's called Into the Gap. When you place yourself between combatants and plead for peace, roll plus courtesy. On any hit, they have to hear you out. On a 10+, they are willing to put aside their quarrel for now. On a 7 to 9, you have a fleeting opportunity before they resume hostilities. Make it count. On a miss, you can't make peace so easily, and now their enmity burns hotter than ever, with you right in the middle. That sounds so good. Okay, plus courtesy. So I got courtesy 2. Okay, that's good. In our dice roller, I just take 2.
Yeah, you take 2 light die, roll them, add your courtesy. Tell me what you get.
Great! It's snake eyes already. First roll of the game. Perfect roll. So it's a 4 total. Hit me. Perfect.
Okay. Well, as you just read, the miss condition on this move is on a miss you can't make peace so easily, and now their enmity burns hotter than ever with you right in the middle. We're cool with seeing this play out. I think as Griffin gives his little speech, trying to like appeal to the better natures of the bandits. One of them kind of does puts his hands out, seeming like he doesn't have any weapons and like he's gonna come talk to you, and then like jabs you with a wrist dagger as he gets close. So like you get like shanked by a bandit, and a hail of arrows starts up. Like they're not ready to negotiate at all, and they're using your distraction just to try and get the jump on your companions. Griffin, if you would mark a tarnish for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I will give Kaldwyr a chance to react next, because you are right there. Like Griffin was just in front of you when he suddenly got shanked. And,
is there a way for me to take that consequence upon myself?
Ooh.
Just out of curiosity, I understand that if am I correct in that because Sir Godfrey marks a tarnish, I get to mark determination? Is that correct?
That is true. Whenever you or one of your allies mark a tarnish, mark the determination track. Yes. So you're kind of of resolve is strengthening. I'd say like if we want to like slightly retcon what I said and have you try and kind of like try and intervene just like as the dagger comes out and right before Griffin gets stabbed, I'd have you roll trust your reflexes to try and act fast enough there, and then depending on how you roll, you might be averting it or taking the hit. I think this is the question here is about like the physical stabbing. I think Griffin is taking a tarnish no matter what from the experience of trying to make peace and getting suckered.
Yeah, because I think I don't think for a second that Sazangran believed that these bandits were going to stop, and was determined to and thinks that the foal Sir Godfrey is putting himself in great danger. So he will try to trust his reflexes to protect him.
Here's my question for you. Is one of your lessons applying here? Are you?
I could invoke a lesson. To make a resolute stand, and evil will break itself against you. Yeah, definitely.
All right, so mark that. Do I have? Yes, yeah. Mark the lesson. Roll with advantage. So you're going to roll 3 light dice and take the best 2 for this
Yep.
trust your reflexes roll.
And it's valor, so I add +1 to the roll.
Yes. Yeah, your valor is a 1.
All right, fingers crossed. Okay, I clicked. Oh, no, I did roll 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 6. Sorry. So that was, sorry, I hit it twice because I couldn't see it in the middle of the screen.
Oops. Okay.
So I think it was 1, 2, 6, which is a 9 + 1 is 10. Sorry, it's not 3 dice. It's 2, the top 2. So
Yeah, take the
would
top
be
2.
a 9.
It'd be a 9. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I think that's what it was.
So a 7 to 9 result for trust your reflexes is you
Yeah.
scrape by, but you undergo an ordeal in the process, and
Perfect.
so that would kind of that would bring in this undergo an ordeal move. So you scrape by, you get in the way. The dagger doesn't stab into your friend Griffin Godfrey. The question is going to be, do you grit your teeth and press on? You hold your ground but mark a tarnish, or stumble, hesitate, or flinch, giving the opposition an opportunity, mark a notch. So I'd say, like, to clarify those stakes in this moment, you could mark a tarnish to, like, kind of like intercept grab the bandit's hand, right? So, and redirect the dagger into empty space, or stumble, hesitate, or flinch, giving the opposition an opportunity. You don't manage to quite do that, and you just put yourself in the way, get stabbed a little bit, and mark a notch for your trouble.
Yeah, no, definitely going the notch. The way I envisaged it was that Suzanka was trying to protect Sir Godfrey and strike the bandit before he could get his blade in. So he was quick enough to interpose himself, but not quick enough to make the strike. And Suzanka takes Sir Godfrey's wound.
Nice.
So I'll mark a notch. Yeah.
Yeah, mark a notch, and just in the fiction, you've been moderately wounded by bandits, dirty trick. I'm gonna jump over to Malgwyn, because Malgwyn seemed to be casting his eyes around, trying to get a sense of the whole situation. Malgwyn, would you like to search for truth here, or another move?
Yep, search for truth makes perfect sense here.
All right, that's a roll with ingenuity. You can tell me if you're embodying a lesson, or if we're just rolling the 2 dice and seeing what we get.
Is it too easy to say that knowledge is a priceless gift here?
It's just like remember when you mark the lesson, you're kind of using that advantage until you unmark it. So I'll if you say it applies, I'll buy it in most circumstances, because you're kind of spending a resource to get the advantage anyway.
Yeah, I think it's probably too easy here to say any search for truth roll would apply.
All right,
that.
so just the 2 dice roll.
Yep.
What did we get?
7 + 1, so 8.
Cool. On an 8 for search for truth, I think you just get 1 question from this list of questions here.
Okay. So I think, since I can't clearly see yet what might be coming at us, I would like to know what danger or injustice needs to be addressed here.
Nice. What danger or injustice needs to be addressed here? Yeah, I think you hear. I think we're going the relatively simple route here. You hear the sound of a crossbow being cranked, and you realize, there's a number of bandits, attacking in the open. There's a bandit sniper, in the trees with a crossbow, presumably trained on your companions, or the young woman who's who's the peddler, right? I put her in the NPCs tab. When we she's the one who's graciously offered a ride to the four of you heading to her village of Harrowdale. So someone is definitely in danger. You've picked up the clues about this bandit sniper. What do you do?
So I think at first would yell a warning that there's another one in the tree. Crossbows, look for crossbows.
Nice.
And then what would he do? It's not what he would normally do, I think, but since this is not a straight up battle, this is ambush. I think he's going to charge at the crossbow, which is a terrible idea. But
yeah, just
I don't think he's okay with these people setting a trap for somebody who's helping us.
That's awesome. So you're thinking like charge and like try to like quickly climb the tree where you think the crossbowman is perched.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
If nothing else, draw their attention, but hopefully take them out before they can fire.
I'm gonna ask you to trust your reflexes here because this is all about quick action.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound right?
That's going to be a -1. That's fun. Yeah, I'll roll with it.
All right, let's see.
7. Ooh, that -1 takes it down to a 6.
Oh no! So, I do want to ask: is anyone interested in spending a heart to help here, or shall we just see the miss result and move forward from there?
So we can spend a heart to give her a +1 bonus. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, it's can be an after they roll, lend your aid by spending a heart and give them a +1. So it would bump it up from a miss to a 7 to 9.
So I'm actually I'd love to spend a heart to do that. And then what this looks like is, as I pull out my saber from the sheath that's there against the cart, I kind of jump up and use the cart to push off and jump up into the air, which is just enough of a distraction from the crossbowman to, be distracted by that in order to miss.
Or I love it. Yeah, like your saber flashes out. It creates this like sudden, unexpected element on the battlefield, and presumably like a bolt goes wide. This gets Malgwyn up to 7 to 9 on trust your reflexes, which says you scrape by but undergo an ordeal in the process. So you get the same dilemma I offered to Kaldwyr moments ago, which is do you grit your teeth and press on? So hold your ground but mark a tarnish. In which case I'd say like you clamber up the tree and like get the drop on the enemy crossbowmen, or stumble, hesitate, or flinch, given the opposition an opportunity, mark a notch. So in that case, you would, I think, like still end up getting there, but you'd be kind of, he'd probably be like more ready for you, and you'd end up in kind of like hand to hand combat in the tree.
I think stumble, hesitate, or flinch makes more sense here.
Yeah.
I think he saw that bolt coming and couldn't help but duck away from it. Gonna keep going,
okay.
And is probably scolding himself as he runs.
I love it. So
a little longer.
I love it. So yeah, you flinch away as the bolt fires, and then like you still like hurry up the tree, but as you're getting up there, you see there's a grizzled bandit, perched out in like sniper type nest, but he's like pulling out a knife to be ready to fight you because he had just enough time after firing his crossbow bolt. I like it. I'll cut right back over to Nimrei since she's now kind of made herself a center of attention, and I want to know what she does next.
Yeah, I'm going to roll my temperament move, which is Bolt from the Blue.
Nice.
I'm going to take that opening of the distraction from Sir Zangwin and Godfrey, that little kerfuffle.
Yes.
And as I leap off of
indeed.
the cart, I jump into the middle, flashing my saber. And let me roll that. That is plus Valor.
Yes.
And I'm not going to use any lessons. So let's see what that looks like.
All right. So 2d6 plus your Valor.
That is a 6, and my Valor is a 1, so that's a 7.
Mm.
So a 7 to 9 is you're engaged in a deadly dance. I give advantage to my allies by harrowing the foe, but you undergo an ordeal as they riposte.
Nice. Okay. So like you've essentially engaged, a half dozen bandits here, right? And your sword is like flashing out and like clinging off of their steel, or like, like slicing into bandits who, flinch away, right? Someone like tries to block you with a wooden club and you like cleave through it because you've got, your highly honed flashing saber. But you're in the middle of them. And so, they like try to essentially, overwhelm you with sheer numbers. So you're undergoing an ordeal as the bandits are trying to pile on and, disable you. You can choose grit your teeth and press on, hold your ground, mark a tarnish, or stumble, hesitate, or flinch. Given the opposition an opportunity, mark a notch. What do you pick, Nimrei?
I'm going to pick Stumble, Hesitate, or Flinch. And what this looks
Okay.
like is this circle around me, and I'm striking out at them, and they're all drawn towards where the action is. And as I turn to go towards a couple of the foes from one direction, especially that are harrowing Kaldwyr and Griffin, that's whenever one of them strikes from behind. And I think this is like a sharpened pitchfork kind of thing, and I'm pierced in the leg, and I go down to one knee. Ooh. Okay. Alexi freeze?
Looks like it. Or he's listening very concentrated.
Yes.
Alexi, you still with us?
Oh.
Dropped out. Hopefully he can rejoin without us all having to drop out and rejoin.
Yeah.
Well, I'll use the break for a short break. See you later.
I sent a Slack to Alexi to see if if it's possible for him to rejoin.
I just I also posted in the mustering point channel in the shared Hearth Discord.
I see it pinged everywhere.
That's right.
Yeah, I know I've had my electricity go during a game before, so it might take a little while for him to sort things out.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Like, hopefully, it's just technical difficulties that he can resolve, and not that he's had to open door, which would be fine too. But obviously,
I have to admit, the open
it's
door
hard to
policy
tell.
that the Open Hearth has is fantastic. I've been in games before where it was kind of expected that you were there, and it felt like a commitment, and it felt almost like work. And then I started playing with a group of people where it wasn't explicitly stated as open door because I didn't know what that was yet. But then it was like, oh yeah, if you have something come up, it's fine. We'll figure it out. And it always works out. And open door is really nice. And I've seen the Open Hearth refer to it like, if you're not in the space to game and enjoy it, then that's fine. I mean, you shouldn't be pushing yourself to do so.
Yeah, self-care is important, and yeah, it's a great policy, and also like the understanding that circumstances beyond people's control can arise, and giving that flexibility, I think, takes a lot of pressure off and lets people have fun, even if nothing happens. I've been in dozens of games with the Open Hearth now, and formerly Gauntlet, and I've I've read out the open door policy and heard other people do it, and it's only come up less than a handful of times. But when it has, it's been very well understood and accepted, and it's great. But it's good having it there.
Oh, I just got an email from Alexi. He's having computer trouble. Take a short break and he'll get things fixed up and resume about, I think in about 10 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Sounds good. Well, I'll see you in 10. Take advantage of the break.
See y'all.
Bye.
Okay, a little tech trouble there, but hopefully in a moment great. So we're taking a little break here, but I think I'm sorting out the tech things on my end. So at 9, I'll see everybody back.
Awesome. Thanks.
Hello, folks. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I don't know what that looked like on your end, but yeah, on my end, my computer just crashed. This is probably the last game I run on this computer. I'm getting a new laptop for my birthday this weekend, and it's just about time because this one's showing its age. Anyway, when it cut out for me, Stephen, you were in the middle of describing how Nimrei was, engaged in this whole melee with bandits, and we're explaining kind of what you thought was the fiction of the undergo an ordeal choice where you stumble, hesitate, or flinch. Do you mind going back to that and kind of telling me what I'm picturing there?
Yeah, not at all. So basically, Nimrei is surrounded by the bandits, and there's several of them, all the way around. And she's, the saber flashes out and holds most of them back, and turns and is trying to focus towards where Kaldwyr and Griffin are to open up some opportunities there. And and from behind, I think one of the bandits, makes a good thrust, and she drops to one knee.
Nice. So you've marked a notch for that, and you have conveyed advantage to your compatriots because by engaging in this deadly dance, you've harried the foe and given all your allies advantage, and I suspect Kaldwyr and Griffin will be able to make use of that advantage. Griffin,
I think
oh, yeah.
I have also shown off with a necessary flourish, which allows me to take a heart.
Beautiful. Yeah. Any other heart triggers people want to call out for me? And it's all right if some of those start racking up as we as we perhaps are recombobulating post fight. But good. Griffin, I might turn to you next and see what you do now that your kind of overtures of peace were rejected. Your friend got stabbed a little for your troubles, and now there's an opening.
I also might get a heart because I decided to trust someone immediately. I trusted these bandits to be good people, I guess.
What a foolish thing to do, Griffin Godfrey. Yes. Take heart and then tell me what you do.
So did I get that correctly? I didn't get stabbed. I just got the tarnish, correct?
Yeah, you got the tarnish, but you did not get stabbed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I look at my sword and unsheath it. It has never been used until today, and now I wield it. I'm not entirely sure if I'm gonna use it actually, or if I'm just pretending to, like, get away, something like that. Maybe I try to intimidate them in a not so convincing way. I don't know.
So this is great because, of course, there is no move to intimidate people. Unless you are the tiger, which is a playbook that is a little more kind of like martial and rough and able to just intimidate people. What I'd ask you to do, I think, is to try to forge a path in that you are, you're sort of working against the odds here, trying to make the bandits scared of you, even as you are. You're trying to cover up the fact that you are uncomfortable wielding the sword in anything resembling a combat situation.
I wanted to be their friend, and now I don't know. Yeah, fumbling around with a sword. Okay, forge a path. So plus perseverance. Perseverance. Oh, -1. Perfect.
But because of your folly, you get a dark advantage dice on this. So technically, your folly makes you, a little more effective at forging a path. Though, potentially you have to mark more tarnishes if that dark dice turns out highest.
I already pushed the roll button, but nothing happened. I'm not sure.
Let me.
I just
don't-
roll again.
Yeah, did you get a dark dice in there? Great.
No. Okay. So the both highest. I guess that's the 2 white ones.
Yeah. So okay. So the dark dice doesn't give you another tarnish, and you rolled an 11. meaning that
-1 is still 10. Yeah.
even with your -1, it's still 10. Okay, amazing. On a 10 plus, fortune smiles on you. Ask the GM what unexpected opportunity you discover.
Yeah, what is it? Please tell me.
Oh boy. Let me just look back. There. So you wave this newly forged, untested sword around, right? And at first it seems like the bandits aren't intimidated, and then a older kind of veteran looking bandit, his eyes go wide, and he grabs one of his bandit allies and yanks him back away from you, saying don't you see the insignia on that blade? He recognizes that you are a royal out here in the swamp, and knows that there's no way anything good will come to him and his bandit crew from harming the likes of you. So there's this moment where kind of whispers go all around the group of bandits, and they start backing away from you. Let's see. Yeah, so you've forged a path to intimidating them in some way, and unexpected opportunity that at least one of them has this specific recognition. If you want to play on that. I will check. I'm going to check what Kaldwyr is up to, though, before we pick back up. Kaldwyr, battle is ongoing, and Nimrei is in the middle of it, having taking a hit and fall into a knee. Let me ask, what do you do?
Well, before I answer, tell me more about this stab wound that I got.
Sometimes when you're doing the nightly thing, someone stabs you in the side, and you're hoping it's missed any vital organs, but you're definitely feeling it.
I'm feeling it, but I can still move fairly freely.
You're able to move. It's more the sort of thing where probably you're gonna want to check on it once there's a moment to catch your breath here.
Well, I think that seeing after protecting Sir Godfrey, and then seeing him kind of just draw a sword and charge off. I think Sazangra just kind of holding his side a little bit, grits his teeth, grits through the pain, and tries to offer some encouragement to Nimrei. Okay. And it's not very good. His cheer is -1. I think that's entirely appropriate, because it's he's like, Nimrei, now is not the time for prayer. and tries to offer encouragement as he tries to move closer to be able to do battle against Nimrei's foes.
Okay, so your lead in here is kind of the battlefield repartee to try and encourage your friend.
That's right.
Great. Okay. Roll it. That's a roll with cheer. Do you have any lessons you're applied? I don't
good
think
question.
So.
No, I don't think so.
All right.
So no.
Roll it and add your cheer, which is a -1.
Okay.
Oh,
let's do it.
Are you taking advantage of the opening created by Nimrei? Because then you would get advantage from Nimrei's kind of setup action. Insofar as
I think so. I think so, because I think it's otherwise. I think that this would be ignored or unheard if it wasn't for that advantage. So I think that let's if it's okay with everyone else, I'll take that advantage because I think I probably need it.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily that only one person gets to use the advantage too. Like as long as the fiction applies that Nimrei's actions have created a an opening, then the advantage can still apply. So go ahead and roll 3d6.
Okay, fingers crossed. Oh yes, so it's 9 on the dice, but that's an 8. So 7 to 9, a partial success.
That's fine. Yeah, so you'll for offering encouragement, you'll get something, just not not the bonus of the 10 plus. So on a 7 to 9, so on a hit, your words reach them. On a 7 to 9, they pick one from below, and so Nimrei, you get to pick one of these offer encouragement options.
I'm gonna say we help each other muster courage. Each of us take advantage on our next move.
Nice. Keep the advantage train rolling.
Yeah, I think what this looks like is Kaldwyr reaches out, and I kind of link arms and stand up, and we stand back to back against our foes.
Oh yeah, nice. Nice. We'll follow up on that. I'm gonna check in with Malgwyn, who is in like a close quarters, cramped quarters, hand-to-hand combat against a bandit sniper up in a tree. I imagine you're going to end up doing battle here, Malgwyn, unless you've got some other trick up your sleeve.
It may very well come to doing battle. I wonder if having that little bit of hesitation and maybe seeing this is somebody who's ready and prepared for it, I wonder if Logan's going to try to talk first.
I mean, I'm interested to hear what that might sound like.
Which I think that this might fit into BC Jaboon. We'll see. Mentally, I think he's still looking for, is there something behind this? Is this a bigger trap? Is there, is this something other than, hungry people or people who think this is the easy road? He's not saying that. I think his approach is, yeah, I'm getting nervous, and I think he's getting nervous too. I would beseech you to give me your name. If you think you have cause to offer battle to us, let me know who you are. What is your cause? Let your
So you're
trying to argue. You're not just bandits, right? You've got something. Tell me what that is, and I'll at least know who you are.
Who you are? What is your cause? Got it. Yeah, and is he willing to listen? Beseech a boon says, when you beseech a boon from someone willing to listen, say what you offer in return. Like, is the implicit offer here just of not death by your sword? Like, it's the idea that you're saying we don't have to fight each other, perhaps?
I think that plus we'll recognize who you are. We'll recognize that you have the right to want whatever it is you want, whether or not we're willing to give it to you.
Interesting. I'm gonna say, you've gotten kind of you've gotten inside this guy's sniper's nest. He's not used to fighting from this range, right? Much more comfortable getting to snipe people with that crossbow. So he's willing to listen, if only to see if there's some way out of this for him. Roll me a beseech a boon. That's a roll plus courtesy, and then we'll see where things go from there.
Boxcars. This one.
Boxcars.
13.
Wow. Incredible diplomacy on the part of the serpent here. At a 10 plus, they must grant the boon if they can, or if they cannot, lay bare their heart about exactly why. Yeah. So he's like, he's looking wary, but when it seems that you like genuinely aren't, rushing to attack and are willing to hear from him, he kind of says through, slightly gritted teeth, the name is Rennis. You know where that peddler's cart was headed, Squire? He kind of guesses correctly based on your, accoutrements in youth.
I know that we were trying to reach Harrowdale. If the cart had other business, I don't know it.
Yeah. Bunch of us left that village a long time ago. It's not a good place. We may be roughing it in the woods, but at least we're not in thrall to the darkness that reigns there. If I were you, I'd turn around and walk out of this swamp. And hey, if you want to leave behind what's in the cart for us, that'd be mighty kind. But at any rate, perhaps we can part ways without further bloodshed.
It's something very, very serious right now. If there's darkness at Harrowdale, that is where I must be. I cannot speak for others. I can take it past to them. I can make my share of what I have. I think I'll hesitate a little bit and then perhaps whatever you all have done here this day, whatever you all have done here any other day, this is not your fate. You can find that with yourselves. You can ready yourself to your actions here. And he is trying to preach about the nature of redemption to this bandit.
Oh, nice.
You're not, even though you may have lost this other home, you're not consigned to being a bandit. You're not limited by whatever you've done to survive.
Well, definitely take a heart for preaching about the nature of redemption. And I think he kind of like stares at you warily, but like slowly kind of puts the knife down and like watches that you're keeping your weapon, sheathing your weapons or otherwise not not making a aggressive move towards him either. Are you kind of? Yeah, I'm hearing a little bit of the noise of interference, but I'm up to try and move forward unless.
If you want to finish this little bit, and then I can check settings on that and move to somebody else.
Yeah, that'd be great. So what do you do? Are you like going down from the tree now that you've tried to form this come to this arrangement with the bandit?
Yeah, I think Malgwyn has made his commitment, and he's going to bring this information back to the others. So as long as the bandit is not going to make any aggressive move towards him, he'll kind of back away down the tree slowly.
Yeah, so like I think you guys end up kind of climbing down out of the tree on like opposite sides because he's like abandoning his sniper's nest and then like fading into the darkness of the forest, and then you manage to get down, having diffused that situation to some extent. Cool. Let me cut to the back-to-back fighters, Kaldwyr and Nimrei. I feel like potentially you're both rolling do battle in a moment, and perhaps resolving those two moves will bring us towards the kind of finale for this confrontation. Perhaps shall we have Kaldwyr take that first, and then Nimrei, and see how that all goes. You each have advantage thanks to the encouragement that was offered.
I'm perfectly happy if Stephen would like to take it first, seeing that I think that Kaldwyr acted last in offering Nimrei encouragement. So
yeah. So, Nimrei, do you want to go for it?
Fantastic, I'll do that. So I think what this looks like is Nimrei is back to back with Kaldwyr, and I think that at first it looks like she's wounded more than she really is, and the bandits kind of press their attack, and that's whenever she reaches out faster than thought, faster than normally would be thought possible. And I'm going to roll with advantage. And this is plus valor, which is +1 for me. So let me click the roll button.
Nice.
And that is a 7 + 1 is 8.
Okay, nice. So on a hit, you trade blows in fierce combat. 7 and 9, pick one from this list, and afterwards your foe picks one as well.
I think I'm going to press the attack and inflict additional harm on my foe.
Nice. That's great. So, more and more bandits are falling or falling back, wounded as your sword flashes out. The bandits get to pick one too. I think it's going to be fight cannily and maneuver my foe where I want them, where there comes a bit where as you're locking blades, someone's kind of pushing you towards the towards that tree barricade that the bandits had dropped across the road, and you're worried that if they can keep this up, they'll be able to knock you over it, or otherwise get you kind of cornered. But in the meantime, you're definitely inflicting some hits on the bandits. I will have Kaldwyr make the next roll here.
Yeah, I think Kaldwyr will do battle as well, and try to stand resolute, to stop, to stop from being pushed against the tree and against the barricade. So I'll make that roll. I can't use that lesson again, can I, to invoke advantage?
Not till you unmark it, but you have advantage anyway, thanks to
that's right, we do. That's awesome. Yeah, cool. All right, so I'll click the button. Here we go. Okay, 8 + 1 is 9.
The question is, anyone want to spend a heart and push that all the way up to a 10? You're back to back with another fighter, but of course Griffin's also in the vicinity.
Maybe I can use the opportunity I got before, interfering in some way.
Yeah, because you've realized that the bandits are afraid to attack you because they're worried shedding royal blood will cause the wrath of their betters to come down on them.
I'm going after the one who recognized it at first, and I'm rising my sword, and then I'm just shoving him.
That's great, creating this confusion amongst the bandit ranks. Great. So spend the heart, and that pushes Kaldwyr's roll up to a 10. In which case, Kaldwyr, you get to choose 2 from the do battle options.
So I think I'll pick the top two, which is that I press the attack and inflict additional harm on my foe. So and to try and dispatch them before we get pushed into the barrier. And I'll also protect my fellow squire who's I've got her back. So I'll shield Nimrei from harm.
That's awesome. I think in that case, from the bandits' counterattack, I'm just gonna ask you to take like one tarnish to represent them, them striking back at you. But in the end, this breaks their ranks, right? And you fell an enemy, and at this point, the odds look too dire for the bandits to want to continue this fight. So they break ranks and scatter into the woods. Leaving the two of you standing, or the four of you all told, standing triumphant.
Sounds great. So I'm looking at tarnishes. I'm looking at either Abandon or Wrath here. But I haven't decided yet.
I think either could make sense. So yeah, when you've decided, go ahead and mark it. So there's a moment. You look around. And then it seems that indeed the bandits have left. Right, they have stopped trying to fight, and your friend, the peddler who was whose cart you have protected, kind of breathes out a slow sigh. She looks and she plucks a crossbow bolt that was lodged next to her up at the front of the cart, and she says, "It's so strange. I wasn't worried that whole time. It's like I knew no matter what we would get to Harrowdale in the end." And she kind of nods slowly, and then looks at the four of you. "Thank you." She has a name, by the way. I put her in the NPCs tab. This is Estrith. She's young for a peddler, right? Closer to your age than the folks who are usually, doing tasks like this. But she has been your guide, as it were, heading towards this village. And now she expresses her gratitude, but in this sort of slightly abstracted way. There's this, sort of slightly underreaction to the bandit attack that you can detect from her.
Well, I think Suzangren is kind of slightly oblivious to that, and just assumes that she's grateful for for their help, and that her confidence was because of their prowess and his prowess, the group's prowess and competency, and says, it was our pleasure, Lady Elstrith, and grimaces a little, holding his side, and then grits his teeth with the pain, and says, "Those fools! What were they thinking? Damn bandits!"
And I think Malgwyn will take that opportunity to step in, and maybe this might be when you notice that there's one of them that hasn't quite run away, but I'm guessing he's probably hanging back. And Malgwyn will step in. Not bandits, townsfolk, ordinary folk. This fellow has news that we should hear, and talking to Estrith. My lady, I must advise that you do not go along with us to Harrowdale. We should take the rest of this journey alone.
Fascinating. So you're calling on I gave him a name. You're calling on Rennis to kind of share his testimony with your fellow squires.
Mm-hmm. Kind of following on the, we'll hear what you have to say. We'll respect the needs that you people have here.
Okay.
I don't think he's even going to stop and listen. I think he's immediately going to go and start digging into our rations and calculate out exactly. He's not going to give away all of his own food, but he's going to take himself down to survival rations to have a decent share to hand over while Renus is talking or doing whatever it is he does.
Okay, nice, got it. So you're kind of you're making a real gesture of good faith by immediately going to hand over some of your own resources to your kind of tentative ally here. Sure, yeah. So Renus, kind of like hands visible, looking between the four of you is like, look, all I was saying is, some of us out in this woods, we ran away from that town. There was things we couldn't understand and didn't want to get mixed up in going on there. You're arriving just in time for the harvest festival. That's when the darkness is strongest. I'm sorry about attacking your wagon, lady, but it's best for you. It's best for you not to keep going down this road. That's all I'm saying.
That's what I thought in the beginning, but your friends didn't want to talk. So there's a harvest festival coming, you say? When does it start?
Estrith chimes in. She's like, the Gloaming festival, that should be starting this evening.
I look to the others, kind of expecting that everybody is like, yeah, let's go there, but I'm hesitating. No?
Wait, I think Suzanne steps forward. Wait, so Godfrey, this person that you tried to broke a priest and then they came and tried to stab you. I'm wounded. Why? An apology is all well and good, but how do we know that you're not actually bandits? You attacked a defenseless, and not defenseless. We're good swordsmen, but a wagon, without any provocation.
Look, I never said we weren't bandits. I was just.
So you are bandits. Well, then perhaps you should come with us, and we'll take you and let the authorities deal with you.
He doesn't look thrilled about that proposal.
Yeah, Malgwyn's gonna protest that no, if there's a darkness in Harrowdale, that's our business to see to, not these folk. These folk have their own lives to live.
Estrith speaks up. She's like, and mine too. My sister lives there. I'm not just going to turn away if the town is under some kind of threat.
I think Stephen, if you'd like to do something, please chime in. But I think Suzangren is really eyeing this person very suspiciously and would like to search for truth about them, to see if they're if anything is what holds true here, or if anything is not what it seems to be.
That's great. I also see that you have marked Wrath, and one thing that Wrath does is it gives you an extra heart trigger, namely gain 1 heart when you escalate a conflict needlessly. So,
that's great. No,
so that's around.
Well, no, that's good because I've got a -1 for ingenuity. So like if I fail this roll,
great. I think you're at a 0 for ingenuity, but at any rate, roll to search for truth.
That's true. Okay, well, it's fortunate that I don't have a -1 because I got a 7.
Okay,
so just a partial success.
You get to ask one question from our search for truth list.
I think what here is not what it seems to be. Like, or Ooh, the top two are really good.
They are good.
Which
Yes.
which would my fellow players be more interested? What here is not what it seems to be, or what danger or injustice needs to be addressed here? I think either would work, and I think Sir Zangren's trying to see whether or not this person is actually trustworthy enough to be believed, or whether they're speaking the truth.
I think Nimrei says, as you talk to our bandit, Nimrei says, well, I guess it really depends on, do you believe other people, or do you have faith in them or not? Depends on which question you ask.
I think Sir Zangren grimaces at that, and when it's unclear whether that's from the what was being said or from their wound, from his wound. Yeah. It says, "How do we know that you're telling the truth?" And I will ask
that first question.
Yeah, the first question. What here is not what it seems to be.
Yeah, I mean the situation.
What aren't you telling us? I should say. What is it that you're not telling us?
What are you not telling us? That's great.
Yeah.
He says, look, I didn't know if you'd believe me, but if you have to know, the reason none of you should go to that harvest festival is because you might end up being the one they sacrifice to that thing they're worshiping out in the old barrow. You happy now?
What is this thing that they're worshiping?
He shudders. Look, I didn't stick around to get a good look. I just heard the noises of the last Harvesttide sacrifice, and that was enough for me. It's not a normal beast. Something ancient. There's a sense of power and evil that wafts off it, and people of Harrowdale have decided the best course is to pledge their allegiance to it.
Sir Zangren, isn't that what we're here for? Is to protect the weak and the weak-minded?
Yes, of course, Nimrei. But how do we know this vagrant is telling us the truth of the matter?
So I'll say just for as far as like the search for truth goes, your sense is that he is telling you all he knows. Like
okay, good.
Whatever from what like the cues you're picking up, you feel like he's been like prevailed upon to share as much truth as he knows, horrible as it is.
Yeah, I think Sir Zangren suspects that, but is still kind of too angry and in pain to try. Is attempting to ignore it, but
beautiful. So are you escalating conflict needlessly?
I think I am. I'm certainly creating the opportunity for that, and I think, I'll leave it up to you, Alexius, to decide whether or not I've actually met that criteria. But certainly, I'm creating the space for that.
Yeah. I think if you raise your voice, and seem like you're on the brink of just starting to fight again, I would count that as escalating conflict needlessly, and we'll see if anybody steps in.
Definitely
calm you down.
Definitely raising voice, not drawing weapon yet, but just definitely raising voice for sure.
Griffin would try to step in and put his hand on your arm and look in your face and like saying, I really appreciate that you took that stab for me, but I think it actually won't help to fight him. We should go there. It's our duty as squires. I mean, we have to find out what's going on there, don't you think?
Oh, that's awesome. So here's a question. There's a couple possible moves that could be happening when you're addressing someone this way, right? Like, it's, like maybe it's offering encouragement. Maybe it's beseeching a boon if like you're really like trying to say like, hey, do me this favor, in exchange for something. There's also another one. There's invoke a lesson someone holds, where you offer them 1 heart if they follow a course of action you're suggesting, but you have to be kind of specifically tying it into one of their lessons. So you'd basically be saying like, you're make your case based on what Kaldwyr believes, and see, and that's then you possibly are handing him a heart in exchange for him agreeing to what you're saying.
The one I criticized was his resolute stand. So maybe now it's time to take this resolute stand into action and into investigating whatever's going on there, and I'm trying to invoke that in him.
Yeah, totally. So then I have to ask, Kaldwyr, does this get through to you? Like, how do you react?
Yeah, I think it does. I think the well, let me ask you mechanically, how do I buy off the wrath? Because I feel like here would be a good. I feel like this is kind of tempering Kaldwyr's wrath here, and it's kind of like that if the wrath can subside, then they will accept the lesson. They will accept those words. And
so the kind of main options are, if it could be cleared through offering encouragement. It could also be cleared specifically by granting someone mercy or forgiveness.
Oh, perfect.
So you grant someone mercy or forgiveness.
So I think that I will clear that, because I think that in order, like, I think that the words do penetrate, and Kaldwyr is able to shake off the anger, and the anger and frustration and pain subsides a little, and Kaldwyr like noticeably calms down and accepts and says, yes, you're right, Sir Godfrey. We must protect these townsfolk from this great evil. My family would expect that of me, and I will do not wish to disappoint them. And I will and I will forgive, like, at least nod like a forgiveness to this bandit for their previous indiscretion.
Okay, so like Rennet, sees your nod, kind of relaxes slightly, and accepts from Malgwyn the provisions that he was ready to hand over.
So I mark off 1 heart because I gave it to Kaldwyr.
Yes, and just Kaldwyr should mark heart. So Kaldwyr's up to 3 heart. So we're aware of that.
Is it a heart or is it a notch?
It's a heart. In the move invoke a lesson, when you invoke a lesson someone holds, offer them 1 heart.
Yes, yeah, that's what they get.
Under impart a lesson, it says for PCs, if they accept the lesson, they mark X notches.
Oh, that's impart. So this was just invoking an existing lesson.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, two different moves.
I see that. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, you can kind of bribe someone based on the lessons you know they hold, which applies to NPCs as well. by the way. There's the NPCs kind of have lessons, within them, and if you find them out, you can invoke their lessons. But yes, if sometimes you want to teach someone a lesson, in which case that's the impart a lesson move. Good to clarify. Those are two different things with sort of slightly different use cases. Cool. So I guess stepping back, do we probably soon we'll do a kind of scene cut and put our characters at Harrowdale, see what's what. Are there things people want to do beforehand, including PC interactions or trying to convince Estrith not to come with you or something, right? Because at the moment the bandit has given his information and then is planning to head off if you let him. Estrith has said she wants to come to Harrowdale because her sister lives there, and so she's concerned about that. So that's the status quo. And if you want to do things to interact with each other or affect that kind of status quo, now would probably be the time to do it before we kind of probably take a break, and then when we come back from the break, say, all right, you've traveled through along the road and gotten to the village.
Yeah, so I think Nimrei goes to everyone, starting with Sir Zangren, and mends to his, checks his wound, puts a bandage on, probably takes some fine brandy from the stores and pours it over it, and it stings, and then kind of tries to wrap it up a little bit, and then goes to everyone to see if they are if they're wounded or if they're okay, and including Estrin. Yeah. And finally goes to Godfrey, to Griffin, and takes a look at the sword that he's drawn, which is a fine sword, and saw how he swung it, and was very successful with it. And she starts to, I can teach you if you'd like. Would you like some instruction?
I guess I need them, so yeah, please.
So I think on the road to the town, the two of us I'll start to spar, and I think what we see on screen is a little bit of a flashback where she's sparring with her father,
yeah,
and then as a younger child, with wooden sword replicas, and the lessons as they move, and the foot placement and all of that. And what I'd like to do here is I'd like to offer encouragement.
Nice. And I think also quite plausibly you are taking heart for critiquing someone's technique from your initial approach,
or share a significant memory of your mentor.
Ooh, yeah,
like
either of
one.
those works. Yeah, cool. Yeah. So yeah, roll to offer encouragement. We'll call this, we'll say that this can represent the whole sort of training montage. You're sparring in the back of the cart as you go, or when you pause and
I think it's along the cart. We're working on our footwork.
Yeah.
Going back and forth. I'm also going to mark a lesson, which is the truest blade is owned by unceasing vigilance and discipline.
Nice. Yes, because you are
to
sharing
get advantage,
that.
Correct.
Yeah. So you take advantage on this encouragement. Absolutely.
And because I have abandoned tarnished, I get a dark die. Is that right?
Yes, you do. That's right. So there's that's so funny to be invoking discipline and abandon at once, but I guess that's that
does
works.
That stack?
Yeah, it stacks.
Okay. So this is just a mechanical question. Would multiple advantages stack?
Multiple advantages stack.
Ooh, weird. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, let me roll that. And my cheer is a 1. There we go. So I got 3 5s, so that's a 10. The plus 1 is 11.
Very successful.
So, Griffin, you choose one from the list, and then I can either get a heart or a notch.
I choose one from the offer encouragement list.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
We share a moment of comfort. Each of us clear a tarnish or gain 1 heart, so I can clear my 1 tarnish I got.
Awesome. And I will clear my tarnish, which lets me. Your tarnish was in Folly?
Yes.
Okay, that lets me mark my Healing Ways move.
And I think you're getting 2 there because you had a tarnish as well. Beautiful. So yeah, you're powering up your healing kit by having taken care of these tarnishes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very nice. Yeah, Griffin, are how is Griffin as a student of swordplay, since it seems you've kind of ended up a squire through your heritage, but not done a lot of sword fighting before. Like, what is it like when you're kind of taking lessons from this this very intense fellow squire who's all about training and discipline?
I think what one can see when you watch Griffin spar or do the sword movements is he got training. He's not bad at it. He's just very unsure and very fearful of fighting. He's like, the technique is there, but he doesn't really dare himself to go further or to acknowledge that violence might be an option or might be necessary in some cases.
So there's kind of a mental block almost.
Yeah.
I like it. Malgwyn, anything you're trying to do kind of prior to the village?
I think this may be story rather than mechanical.
Okay.
There's just a moment there I wanted to come back to that.
Yeah, please.
With escalating the conflict, Malgwyn is probably lucky that Griffin stepped in. I don't know that he was going to fight, but he was going to come back with the same lesson, but much more sarcastically. Along the lines of, well, I thought evil was going to break around you. What are you afraid you'll be tempted by it after all? And then Griffin went and gave the same reminder much more kindly. And Malgwyn backs off a little bit. I think he doesn't quite let go of it, but I think he turns it more into a reassurance rather than a challenge or a hitting back. So I think he does kind of brush by Kaldwyr just a little bit as they take to the road, and he does repeat that phrase of evil will break around you, but it's more a tone of affirmation than it is a challenge, as it would have been otherwise.
Nice.
So if that is something, we can do that, but I don't know if it is or not.
I mean, if you want it to be, we could play it as an offer of encouragement, or if not, we don't have to. I have something I want you to do. So tell me if you want to make that an offer of encouragement, and then afterwards there's something I have up my sleeve either way.
I think I talked myself into it. Yeah, it does sound like encouragement.
All right. So Malgwyn kind of moderates what was going to be kind of a cutting remark into a nice thing to say to Kaldwyr. Go ahead and roll with cheer, with your abandoned dice in there as well. Your dark dice for the tarnish.
So that's a 9, and the tarnish the dark dice is a 1.
Okay, tarnish dice not causing any problems here. You then, okay, so on a 9, Kaldwyr would get to pick one from the offer encouragement list.
This is an interesting one.
Yes, you can choose to reject the encouragement.
Can we say that, like,
there's drama in that. It's fun, and it
Yeah.
it still gives Malgwyn something, because he gets to ask you a question and get an honest answer, which might be the sort of thing where the honest answer is like player to player, right? And like the character doesn't like mean to give the honest answer, but but does anyway.
The funnier
Yeah, I think
was
I
his own
think
cousin.
what exactly do you, just to give me some guidance here, Annie? What exactly does Malgwyn say to Kaldwyr? Like, how does yeah? What do you think Malgwyn says to Kaldwyr?
I think it's just those exact words from the lesson. I think he's heard it enough that he was going to echo it back sarcastically. That's gotten moderated. So I think it's just like a shoulder bump in passing or something. Just a moment brushing by him and just repeating that last half. Evil will break itself against you. Kind of nod and move away.
Okay. So it's not like you're not it's not like a direct repetition of what Sir Godfrey said like moments before. It's no, it's just a reaffirming the stand against evil. I think Kaldwyr takes comfort in that. I think if it was just repeating the lesson that Sir Godfrey had invoked, I think Kaldwyr would have irked Kaldwyr, and I would have rejected it. But I think the way that it's been cleverly modified here. I think Malgwyn's being very subtle and clever here, and Kaldwyr like is either too foolish or too naive to see anything else, and accepts it for what it is, and is encouraged by it. So we get to share a moment of comfort, and each of us gets to clear a tarnish or gain a heart.
There we go.
Seeing as I cleared a tarnish before, I'll gain a 4th heart.
Wow, you are full of heart.
Yes, but I intend to spend it now. I just want to at least spend one of them. So thank you. Thank you, Malgwyn.
And I will clarify one thing you said. I don't think Malgwyn was being clever. I think he was being proud also. That's how he was conveying, you're doing the right thing, you can do this, but that was about as warm and fuzzy as he could get with it.
So now for what I had up my sleeve, which is Malgwyn, kind of moments after this interaction, suddenly you feel a vision coming. Tell me what that feels like. How does it feel when your kind of foresight, presses a vision on you of its own accord?
I think it feels cold, and it feels just enormously lonely. It's almost a flashback to being that child of misfortune and huddling by a cold hearth or looking out the window onto the mountain marches, and suddenly everything just feels so much bigger and more significant and more meaningful, and he feels just very small and cold and all alone.
I love it. Roll plus tarnish is marked. So in this case, that is +1 because you still have abandoned marked.
Yep. So that's the 2d6, right? +1?
Yeah, 2d6 +1.
Yeah. It's a 9.
Okay. On a 7 to 9, you receive a disturbing vision. Mark 2 foresight. So you do get some foresight in your foresight track, but you also receive a disturbing vision. I think you suddenly get these like disjointed images of crumbling stone in some kind of ancient place, cobwebs spread from tree to tree, then possibly large, and then like the culmination of the vision, you see your fellow squires all like tangled up in webs, while something enormous is kind of stalking towards them, and kind of you snap out of the vision just before, just as like the shadow of this monster kind of stretches over your trapped companions, and that's the that's the vision you have received.
Yeah, if anyone who's paying attention might see him suddenly shudder out of it, and just that panic moment of looking up and around. Okay, it's not there. It's not there. I don't think he'll say anything right then, but I think at some point later down the road, he might try to guide the conversation around towards, well, the bandit said there was some great beast, and maybe try to plan a little bit or talk a little bit of strategy without coming out and saying, I saw this thing.
Nice. I lean towards taking our break and then picking up with our characters arriving at Harrowdale. How does that sound?
I had a couple of things I really wanted to do from a character perspective, but Alexi, if you think that we're going to struggle for time to do what you like in Harrowdale, I'm happy to leave it.
Tell me what you're thinking. Maybe we can fit it in.
Awesome. So first of all, I wanted to. We kind of skipped over Nimrei helping Sir Zangren heal his wound.
Right.
I would like it to use that opportunity to offer some encouragement for Nimrei and to praise them for their how they acquitted themselves in battle. So that's a nice character moment that I'd like to. Or even if just mention if we can and make that move if possible. And the second one is I'd like to attempt to impart a lesson to Sir Godfrey about to save him from getting stabbed in the future, based on being too trusting or.
Those are both pretty cool. I think those can happen on the way to the village. Why don't we take the break, pick up after the break with those moments, and then we'll say, right after whatever happens with the lesson happens, the cart pulls into the village. How's that sound? Cool. Let's take like 8 minutes and be back at 10 past the hour if that works for folks. All right. See you all soon. All right, how are we doing? Then let us have that interaction, that moment between Kaldwyr and Nimrei, as Nimrei is, examining Kaldwyr's wound, applying the necessary poultices. Nimrei has the supplies for field medicine, and when you check out the wound, you can see it. You are going to be able to stabilize it. Probably it'd be better if Kaldwyr took things easy for a little bit and let it heal, but you suspect that might not be what he does. So you can kind of poultice and bandage it as best you can to give him a fighting chance at getting by with nothing but an interesting scar. And Kaldwyr, you were going to say something to Nimrei at this time, I think.
Yeah, I think when Nimrei is applying the brandy to the wound and hissing or grimacing in pain, I think Kaldwyr says to Nimrei, you did remarkably well out there, Nimrei.
Of course, I'm very good. I've been trained by the best.
I didn't realize you were fantastic. It's an honor to fight alongside you.
It's an honor to be allowed to fight amongst such people of high station.
That sounds like a offer encouragement to me. Roll with cheer.
Awesome. Oh.
Oh no.
No. Yeah.
What does it come to?
It comes to 5, I think.
That's okay. Yeah, on a mixture of the GM's hands. So, you have your moment together. You just don't get kind of mechanical benefit from it. And what do I do here? Hey, can I suggest something and then you tell me if it is too much here?
Cool. I have an idea as well. But please, I want to hear yours.
My idea is this is the moment you realize you have feelings for Nimrei, and it causes you to mark a tarnish, as you are embarrassed about it.
Yeah, I like that. Let's do that.
Okay, great. So you.
And I think I'm gonna. How does one interpret abandon here in tarnishes?
It's kind of up for interpretation, right? So it's sort of like cheer taken too far in one sense, right? Or it could be in a sort of the sort of like losing some like hope or stability that you need. But I welcome different interpretations of these. Because there's always folly or shame, of course.
Yeah, no, so folly I was considering, but I can I propose that I also wanted to give Nimrei an opportunity to gain heart as well in the exchange. Perhaps if Nimrei, if Stephen, if you wanted to either critique Kaldwyr's tactics or share a memory of your mentor, and I feel like either would work with this, because it seems to me like, especially from what you said, what Nimrei said last was about the difference in station. I feel like that was the barrier here into accepting comfort and together. And I think that I think that barrier, if it's okay with you, I think maybe Kaldwyr didn't realize just now that they have feelings. Maybe they've had feelings for for Nimrei for a while, but you've just reminded them of the gap in their station, and
okay,
so
yeah,
now they feel like they feel a bit disheartened in that, which would allow me to mark, I think, abandon for cheer.
Yeah,
and so
I think the way that
and,
looks and the way that feels for Nimrei is she actually says, whenever you compliment her battling style, she pulls out her saber and says, "My father made this blade. He made many blades. This is a good example of high quality work, and without such a blade, I wouldn't be as effective." And then turns to your blade and points out imperfections in it, where it wasn't made quite as good, and says,
his great
"Could be
grandmother's
better."
blade.
Yeah.
This famous
even better.
sword.
Here's how it could have been maintained better,
Oh,
and I will help you to maintain it. Yeah.
love it.
Oh,
and
just
and it just further just like widens that divide between them, and so Zangren actually doesn't say anything to correct or rebut Nimrei, but is just crestfallen, like in that his love is now suspects will come to naught. So
and I think it's obvious on camera that Nimrei is completely oblivious to this. She has put Kaldwyr on such a high pedestal.
Yeah, it's a
like,
totally professional relationship. Yeah.
And she just thinks the world of him because, he's a noble, he's better.
Right.
That's right.
Oh, class.
That's so good.
Class feelings. Great. Kaldwyr, you wanted to impart a lesson to Griffin. Do you mind if we have that happening essentially as the cart pulls into the village, so we can get
absolutely
we can do a little painting the scene, and then have that moment of Kaldwyr like trying to say something to Griffin, before whatever is going to happen here happens. Then in that case, I'm going to prompt us to paint the scene as the peddler's cart, driven by Estrith, arrives at the isolated village of Harrowdale, all decked out for the Harvesttide Festival. I'm going to ask each of you to tell me what tells you that there's an undercurrent of fear at this festival. Malgwyn, I'll ask you first. Help me paint the scene. What sticks out to Malgwyn that gives the sense of fear underlying the festivities?
I think there's conversations going on in the street that fit the mood, but every so often there'll be a sentence chopped off, or there'll be something somebody doesn't say, and I'll very quickly look around and then go back to being determinedly cheerful.
Those like noticeable silences. Sure. Yeah. Griffin, what tells you there's an undercurrent of fear at this festival?
Maybe there are some boarded up windows at some houses.
Yeah, like some houses are sort of unoccupied, and like everyone's kind of ignoring this fact. Kaldwyr, what tells you there's an undercurrent of fear in the festivities in Harrowdale?
Oh, that's perfect. I think people aren't really looking each other in the eye. Like everyone's kind of like glancing askance and kind of looking around at the surroundings, and whenever someone makes eye contact, they kind of look down.
That's great. Yeah. So like the festive lanterns are lit, and there's like food and wine being shared, but there's this suspicious lack of eye contact. Nimrei, one more detail that tells us there's an undercurrent of fear at the festival.
Typically at festivals that I've been to in the past, there's a sense of celebration. There are people, they're happy, they're partying. In this case, there are no children playing in the streets. There's no pets or dogs begging for food or scraps from the revelers. It's just people out talking and staring, and not a party kind of atmosphere.
That's great. Yeah, and I think especially as the peddler's cart arrives, there are people staring, right? There's some go to help unload, but there's others who are like hanging back and just like watching intently the fact that these four strangers have arrived alongside the peddler. Kaldwyr, if you want to take a moment to impart that lesson or attempt to impart that lesson, this might be a great opportunity.
Yeah, it's perfect. Thanks, Alexi. So I think like as we're witnessing this and rolling into town and seeing this this surreptitious behavior and a sense of fear, and I think like Kaldwyr turns to Sir Godfrey and says, something is definitely wrong here. Sir Godfrey, you were far too trusting in that in our encounter with those bandits. I beg you, please, we cannot be so foolishly give our trust to strangers, especially if they when there's clearly some evil here afoot. I'm lucky that I only got my wounds were only superficial, and Nimrei was able to see to them. We may not be so lucky next time.
So can I summarize the lesson, and you tell me if this sounds like what you're trying to impart?
Yeah.
Something like, we cannot be so foolish as to trust strangers immediately. That's
yes.
Yeah. Okay. So how much heart are you putting into your attempt to impart this lesson?
Yeah, I think it's also, I think it's I think it's being too trusting can expose people to danger.
Okay, yeah. Okay, great. The lesson is,
yeah, because Kaldwyr wants to protect people. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, great. How much heart are you putting in?
I think I'll just put 1.
All right, spending a heart on it. So, so Griffin, do you accept or do you resist the lesson?
No, I don't accept because
nice.
For now, it doesn't make sense to me. This was one situation where I maybe misjudged a little bit, and that doesn't mean that I should be overcautious in every situation. And these people need our help.
Okay, so here's the thing: if you resist the lesson, you roll, and you usually roll just a flat 2d6 roll. But because of the heart that your fellow player has put into it, you're going to roll -1 on this 2d6.
Okay, it's 6 minus 1. That means 5.
Oh dear. So here's what happens when you resist a lesson and roll a miss. Their words overcome your resistance. Mark a tarnish and record their lesson as a temporary lesson. Tell the GM how they got past your defenses. So yeah, so despite you're trying to talk back and resist, like somehow this lesson like gets to you.
Well, I think we discuss for a bit, and after this or in this exchange, I run out of points to make. I run out of good reasons to be so naive, so believing. Yeah, well,
that's great.
I guess
I've put the lesson onto your.
He took the knife to the chest for me, so I mark shame.
Oh, that's perfect. That's
okay,
so perfect.
On there. Thanks. Okay.
Great. So now that's a lesson that you can heed or defy. I love that it's directly opposed to another lesson you have, essentially. So potentially you'd have to defy one to heed the other, which is totally compatible because advantage and disadvantage can all stack.
And also Kaldwyr was in the conversation would express his admiration for your trait as to it's like that it's perfectly well and good to try to understand someone's point of view, but you can't allow that to put people in danger, and use both of your other lessons to try and drive the point home.
Awesome. Malgwyn, what do you do now that you've arrived in Harrowdale and are taking in the situation?
I think as soon as we were even within sight of the village, Malgwyn has just been totally on alert. So no chatting with the other squires, no even pretense at engaging in the festival. It's just looking at every dark alley, especially after that vision, being aware of rooftops, being aware of anything above us. Just totally on alert for where is this darkness.
That's awesome. Are you rolling a move, do you think? Like, this might trigger your temperament move.
Yeah. I was even looking at that, and then I forgot.
Cool. So when you carefully investigate a place touched by darkness, roll plus perseverance, and then there's some fun questions you get to ask.
Yep. All right. Okay, 7 plus 2, so 9.
All right. So you get to ask 2 questions. It gives you 2 questions even on a 7 to 9. But you also draw unwanted attention. So that's the 7 to 9 drawback here. Why don't you start by asking your questions?
All right. These are good. I think the first one is, what will the darkness do next if unopposed? He's on alert for what's going to happen.
Great. And and since you're the chalice, I can I could just give these to you, slightly supernaturally, right? Like I can say you get this, this hunch of what's going to happen, and it's real because of your foresight. Sure. There's some. You have this, this premonition of just kind of more and more, kind of joyless festivals, right? Like the village has to kind of create new holidays to hold these festivals where, the unspoken purpose is to pick someone out and offer them as a sacrifice. You see that they're kind of, in these flashes of vision you see the village kind of emptying out as it, in desperation tries to appease the darkness it has given its loyalty to. What's your other question?
I think the other one is what redemption or retribution is dreamed of here. He's already got redemption on his mind.
Yeah, sure. The visions change to focus in on one person in the village, and you can see the family resemblance to Estreth. This must be her sister Willa, who she said is the blacksmith here in Harrowdale. And kind of in the visions, you see her kind of concealing this this dagger, in her like a hidden pocket in her belt or something, right? And she's walking towards that tomb that you had seen in your first great premonition. So the sense you get is at least one person in this village is ready to try to defy the dark creature that is holding it in its sway. Does that work for you to give you those answers? But you also draw unwanted attention. Great. Like as you're looking around, just you've gotten out of the cart. You're taking in the festival. Is that fair? Like a withered hand grabs your shoulder, and you're kind of staring down into this truly ancient woman's face, and she says, "You bear the sigils of William and Francesca, but none have come from that march for more than 20 winters by my reckoning. What are you doing here? You're far away from your realm, young man."
So that totally pulls him out of his vigilance, and he
Oh yeah.
almost it's almost a childlike stance of defiance, as he's I think he's having to look down on her on this little old woman, and
Yeah.
throws back at her that our march has produced valiant knights for the service of the realm since far before this king ever came, and in service of this king. My sister is a valiant knight. I'm in training to be a knight. I will not accept shame thrown at our name. Just starting to get flustered and just not in any mood to be talked down to, even though he's supposed to be here on a noble quest.
This is great. She clicks her tongue and narrows her eyes, but lets you go, right? While still watching you with a sense of strong disapproval, suspicion. There's an announcement made. Someone is standing on a little kind of platform in the town square. Says, "The time has come, fellow citizens of Harrowdale, to crown the monarch of our festival. Bring forward the pot of offerings," and someone brings over this clay pot that you'd seen kind of moving around the festival, and everyone was putting in a piece of jewelry or some small personal effect into this pot. And now the man up on the platform kind of makes a big show, putting on a blindfold and then reaching around in the pot, he's going to pull something out and determine a winner of this part of the Harvesttide Festival. Everyone has gone very quiet and is watching this unfold with a lot of attention. Squires, do any of you do something, or are you waiting to see what transpires? Cool. The man pulls a finely wrought metal bracelet out of the pot, and there are kind of sighs and gasps from around in the crowd, and all eyes turn to the woman who's clearly Estrith's sister. Once you see her in the flesh here, Willa the blacksmith, who kind of sees her bracelet held aloft and kind of nods grimly and marches up to the platform where a flower crown is put on her head, and there's this sort of pretense of festivity that's very thin about this whole crowning. Estrith kind of like calls out and is like running over towards her, but like several other villagers kind of form a little phalanx and like block her from rushing the stage.
I step up to the villagers to see if I can't get Estrin to pass.
Ooh,
allow her to pass.
Nice. How are you doing that?
I think so. There isn't anything like intimidation, so I think I'll do something like invoke a lesson, maybe.
Ooh.
Let's see. Do I have something like that?
Well,
No?
do you know a lesson that the village holds, or do you want to just guess one and see if you can make it work?
I think I'm going to impart a lesson similar to what some of our other PCs have.
Oh, nice.
Which
So you're
is,
going to try to impart a lesson to the villagers.
yeah, which is is there a sway kind of move where I just talk to them?
That's beseech a boon. The thing is, you just have to, if you're beseeching a boon, you have to be offering something to them in return. But yeah, you can try to beseech a boon.
I think I'm going to do that instead, and I think I'm going to try to teach them. I'm basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get them to step aside in the name of common courtesy, because those you should learn humility and allow family to get back together and allow this woman to reach her sister.
Nice. So yeah, step aside in the name of common courtesy, respect family bonds, and is the is what you're. The question is, what are you offering them? Is it just is it just that you're saying you'll be grateful if they keep this in mind? Is there some implied threat in your beseeching of a boon? Like,
I think it's more along the lines of, you should do this because it is just and right. If you don't do this, you will be doing something wrong.
All right. So what's offered in return is the sense of justice.
Exactly.
Sure.
Justice. Thank you. You're very good.
Go for it. Okay. It's a roll with courtesy, which is a 0 for you.
That's right. So let's roll that. I got a 7.
Cool.
That's good.
They can demand something costlier than what you offered. Promise it, and the boon is yours. Nice. The like seeming ringleader, of this group of villagers says, "You aren't from around here, squire. We have our own traditions at the Harvesttide Festival, but I see a very fine sword you bear. We don't allow weaponry on anyone approaching the central mysteries of the Gloaming Rite. So you and your friend may pass if you give your sword into our keeping for the time being."
I will give my sword to my fellow squire, Sir Zangwyn, and I turn and offer my sword to him.
Ah.
Is that enough for you?
There's like a moment of consideration. Like, have you really lived up to the conditions they've imposed? But then they nod and step aside, though they're just allowing you and Estrith to pass, and definitely not letting Sir Zangren get any closer, since he's become the bearer of this blade.
And I lean over to Estrin and say, "I will accompany you. Do fear nothing."
Yeah. Yeah. So she nods and kind of rushes through the gap that's now been made, and the two of you are able to approach the stage where Willa is now having like garlands kind of like thrown at her feet while she like sits like grimly in this sort of like throne / litter thing they've built for the Harvesttide queen, right? And like as like Estrith gets closer, Willa's like, Estrith, what are you doing here? Don't. Listen. This is going to be better if you don't get involved. It's for your own good, okay? And Estrith's just like shaking her head, not accepting this. And the like village elders, are like kind of like gesturing, like hurry it up, like they're trying to like rush through this like bit of the ceremony before like any like more disruption can occur.
While this is happening, Alexi, can I? Zangren is very suspicious. Obviously.
Sure. Yeah.
Can I observe and search for truth about the situation?
I think that is merited. How are you searching for truth? Just like trying
observing, like trying to like, especially while the sword is being handed over to Zangren, is like carefully trying to, is not looking at Nimrei, especially because of his feelings, but also
feelings, right?
yeah. But is using the opportunity to look around at everyone else and seeing like, are they looking at the sword greedily? Are they how are they reacting to this? And then watching Nimrei as they go up and how everyone else is kind of viewing and what is transpiring, is just observing, quite studying the circumstance, looking for with suspicion.
Yeah, go ahead and roll with ingenuity.
Okay, cool. Do we have any advantage here?
Not unless you've got a lesson to bring in.
What is my lesson? No, I don't think that applies about the family. I think it is pride and legacy of excellence. No. All right, so I'll just roll it flat. 8. So
you get a question.
One.
Yeah,
perfect.
One question from offer encouragement.
Oh.
Or from search for truth. Sorry, looked at the wrong.
Yeah. Definitely, what danger or injustice needs to be addressed here? Like what danger is Nimrei and getting herself into, and also danger to Elstrith and her sister.
Yeah. The like throne thing that Will is sitting in, is clearly meant to be like picked up and carried. You like as you see the elders like trying to like rush through this part of the ceremony, and like some like sturdier villagers are like queuing up, like it's going to be their job to pick up this throne and carry the Harvesttide queen off as based on what your bandit told you, off as a sacrifice, and like maybe you even can see the like path being like laid out, like they're strewing flowers along the path out of the village towards the ominous barrow, just beyond the edge of the village.
And I think maybe Zangren sees the barrow and turns to Malgwyn and says, "Where are? It looks like they're going to be taking her to to that place over there. Do you get a sense of evil coming from it, Malgwyn? There's something about it looks terribly wrong."
Yeah, so I think Malgwyn has been struggling to regain his calm, and he's become more aware of all this going on and is coming back into focus, and this really snaps him back and puts the pieces back together. He's just going to take it at face value. Yes, I think you're wise to notice that. The bandit spoke of a beast that looks very much like the lair of some great beast. I fear they mean to leave her there. I think what Malgwyn, I can't even say his own name. I think what he will do at this point, I think he would say something. I don't think he would just wander away, but I don't think he's going to ask either. I think he would say, I will take the path while they're occupied.
Wait, I didn't catch that. What did he say?
I will take the path while they're occupied. He's going to try to
Oh,
go around and get ahead of them before they can carry her off the footpath, and see if he can get to the beast first.
fascinating. Griffin, since you have not made a spectacle of yourself so far, what are you doing? Like you kind of have free reign to get involved at in any place in this whole festival sacrifice that is unfolding.
Maybe I just listened in on some of the villagers and tried for once not to, after the speech I got from what's your name again?
Kaldwyr?
Yeah, exactly, from Kaldwyr. Maybe I wanted to be a little bit more subtle and in the background and listening in and trying to find out something about what's going on here, about maybe there's some of them who are talking to each other.
Nice. Okay, so you are not just like getting into conversations with the villagers. You're trying to eavesdrop. Sort of. Yeah. So you're acting a little more suspiciously than Griffin usually does. I could have you search for truth. It's just plausibly you are, defying your defying one of your lessons, even if you're paying heed to another one while you're doing this.
Yeah.
And we could see that. That's fun. We stack up advantage and disadvantage and figure out how it all works out.
Because it might count as hesitation, so that's against my first lesson.
Precisely, yeah. So what happens here, just to be clear, when you defy a lesson, you roll with disadvantage, no matter what you mark a notch. And if you roll a hit, you can rewrite the lesson that you've to reflect what you've learned or how you've grown.
Cool.
So, and now plausibly you're both defying that lesson and heeding your other lesson, in which case you get advantage and disadvantage, which means you roll 4 dice and take the middle 2.
So you think I'm heeding the too much trust puts people into danger lesson?
You might be. So basically, I'm willing to have you do that, and then you get the advantage and disadvantage, which instead of canceling out, mean you roll 4 dice and take the middle 2. This is slightly different than some other systems treat advantage and disadvantage, but to make the lesson mechanic work, I decided I wanted it all to stack.
Let's do that. Just 4 light dice, or does one of them or 2 of them have to be?
No, because with advantage and disadvantage, it's just about dropping the highest or dropping the lowest. So there aren't any dark dice unless your stat here is tarnished, which I think it is not. Yeah.
Okay, so got a 2, a 4, a 2, and a 3. So the highest
drop the
is
4 and the 2. What we're left with is
a 5.
Is a 5. Great. Okay. So so great. Mark the lesson you were heeding, and mark a notch, as the sweetener for defying a lesson. And now you're in my hands. Perfect. Let's see. I think while you're sneaking around, listening to people, there's okay, so we might be coming quite quickly up on a cliffhanger, so I'm just gonna lean in on it. one of the there's a villager who seems to be like, acting a little strange. Like even just the way he's moving is like sort of kind of hesitant. Like his body isn't used to moving like a human body is supposed to move. And like as you get close and are listening in, he like turns around, and his head and neck do like a little like more swiveling than heads and necks are supposed to do. And then as he's staring at you, you see his flesh is kind of graying, and like his mouth is hanging open, and like a couple like spider legs are like visible, outside the mouth. It's like it's the husk of a person being moved around by nasty things inside. Mark a tarnish for your trouble as he starts kind of staring at you with kind of strange unfocused eyes, and we'll probably end up leaving that as a little creepy cliffhanger. I'm going to find out if our other squires are taking any last dramatic actions. Nimrei, you're right in the middle of it, because you're next to these two sisters as they're having this like kind of hushed or like semi-whispered argument as the like ceremony is wrapping up.
I think I'm being pushed towards the as a bearer,
Mm-hmm.
and I tell Estrin, I will protect your sister, but I'd like the others to go first.
Nice. So you're like taking over one of the like positions, carrying the the like throne thing. Nice. Malgwyn, you were kind of sneaking ahead towards the barrow. Is that where we pick up with you?
Yep.
What's your like as you get closer to it? There's like just almost physical like waves of unease and revulsion kind of radiating off of it. Like this place is clearly an evil one, and it's like it almost takes effort to move towards it. And I want to know what you do. Like, are you just like striding on in? How do you approach a clearly evil barrow that's the lair to something terrible?
Yeah, I think he's talked himself back around to feeling like this is what he's supposed to do. This is essentially what he's fated for, in the interest of defending his heritage. I don't think he's striding in, but I do think he's walking in. He is trying to be stealthy, for whatever good that may do him. But he is trying to slip in, see if he can spot the beast, and ultimately he's going to see if he can't attack it before whatever is going to happen can happen.
That's awesome. Yeah, you step into this dark ancient barrow that kind of its mouth kind of yawns open, and there's this overwhelming kind of scent of decay pervading it, and as soon as you like kind of cross the threshold and are standing in this dark place, you hear a voice. Well, you sense a voice. You're not sure if you're hearing it with your ears, but there's a voice saying, "Little mortal, you bear so much guilt, so much desire for redemption. I will enjoy sucking it from your corpse. It lends a certain flavor. All that thwarted aspiration.
terrifying.
And you hear like as somehow in this darkness there's a like deeper darkness looming over you, suspended on many scuttling legs, and like you stare up towards where like the face of whatever this thing should be, the face of whatever this thing is should be, and something skull-like stares back at you with eyes that blaze green.
Yeah, I think there's just that tiny moment of reaction where part of him wants to turn and run, part of him is hearing what this voice is saying and hearing it translate to, this is your fault. If this evil thing likes you, you are obviously evil. So I think this is where he's going to lean on one of his lessons, and lean on the lesson that no one is immune to the glamour of evil. Which he's just seen outside, and now he's seeing that in himself. And I think the way he's applying it is, yeah, I can see this happening to me. I can see myself wanting to be a coward and run. I could very easily see myself being one of those people in the village, but I choose not to.
Mm-hmm.
He's making it a conscious choice, and as he's making that choice, this is all split-second reaction. He's gonna pull out his reforged sword and just charge at the thing. He's trying to do a Samwise and get under it and stab up.
Oh, beautiful. Perhaps this must be the last of our rolls here.
May I see about helping for just a second?
Ooh, yeah. So, like, if you've kind of gotten close enough to be of assistance.
I think that either from where I am and we're carrying the dais, or from up on the platform, I see the creature in Malgwyn being threatened, and I pull out from around my neck my crucifix.
Ooh.
And raise it up in the air. And I think it's a brass crucifix, but as I raise it up, it catches the light and looks golden. And I say, Prince of the Heavenly Host, defendest in battle against the rulers of this world of darkness, against the spirits of evil in high places. And I throw it where Malgwyn is. And this streak of light arcs in his direction. And I'm going to spend 3 heart to cleanse a place from a curse, poison, or malign influence.
Oh, nice.
In order to help him out.
Nice. That's great. So, like, potentially, yeah. So, like, Malgwyn, you catch the crucifix?
Yeah, I think without even realizing, he sees this glint of light and something says, reach for it.
Yeah.
And he does.
Yeah. And as you do, like, the darkness seems to recede, right? And, like, instead of this kind of, like, unnatural darkness, it's just the, like, the normal darkness of an old space, right? But, like, some of that kind of, like, sense of, like, supernatural menace is receding, and you see it's a big beast in front of you, but there's enough visible that you can stab some of it.
We know how to fight big beasts.
You know how to fight big beasts.
Gonna clasp the crucifix together with the sword and just stab it.
I'll give you. Yeah, I'm gonna just rule that you get advantage on this roll, since Nimrei did, like, spend heart to give you this, to do this cleansing. So I'll say that cashes out to advantage as you roll to do battle with the monster.
Awesome. And remind me with the lesson, is that advantage also?
Oh, sure. Yeah, take double advantage. Why not? You marked your lesson here.
Yep. All right. And this is, we said, do battle, obviously, right? Just making sure I'm rolling right thing.
And yeah. I think do battle's the right move for this, which is fun because you didn't do battle earlier, since you actually, like, found a diplomatic solution during the bandit encounter. But sometimes you got to fight a thing, especially if it is a big giant monster that lives in a barrow and demands sacrifices.
Exactly. All right, here we go.
So take the higher 2.
Higher 2 would be 11, and I have a -1 to Valor, so that's still a 10.
Still a 10. That's awesome. could pick two, probably. So, my advice would probably be press the attack and keep your guard up, because then that can cash out to you do good damage to it, and like mostly don't take too much damage yourself.
Yes.
So like I think this time there is a like physically audible, kind of like bellow of pain from this creature that echoes out of the barrow, as like the villagers all like reacted like consternation and confusion, and as squires, you kind of your compatriot has struck a blow against this thing, and presumably a truly epic battle is about to commence, but we're gonna call that our like exciting cliffhanger ending on our one shot of Vow of the Knight-Aspirants. Let's do folks have time to do end of session moves and kind of get to a stopping point based on that. Okay. I'll go backwards across the character keeper, because I think.
Does anyone have to go earlier? We could let them go first.
Yeah, you've got 10 minutes, Jonathan. Do you want to start us off then?
Sure, if that's okay.
Yeah. So
unless anyone has to go sooner.
So the way this would work is you check your end of session trigger on your playbook, and take part if appropriate, or take a notch if appropriate. Then go to the end of session move, which asks you to kind of make a choice about one of your lessons, and then roll the epilogue based on the notches you've marked, and then you can use this to give us a glimpse of your squire, either like in the immediate future or the further future, in a one shot. It's kind of wide open what you want to do with the epilogue.
Cool. So my trigger is if I mark a notch if I protected someone important to me, and I highlighted it when I did, which was nice. When at the very first scene when I protected Sir Godfrey.
You did.
My friend. So I'll mark a notch for that, which brings me to 2. The end of session move is
select one of your lessons and choose. I embody this lesson more and more. I'm struggling to fit this lesson into my ideals, or I have more to learn from this lesson, which is not as relevant for you because it's that's when you have temporary lessons you want to upgrade, and so far you don't have any temporary lessons.
I'm going to say that I have learned all I can from the lesson of where was it? The make a resolute stand and evil will break itself against you. I think this whole adventure has just reinforced that, and I don't think that I think that that's either a permanent lesson or it's now like
it's kind of sunk into your identity.
It's sunk in. That's it. Like it's unquestionable. It's not. Yeah, it's part of him now, and he's got nothing else to learn from it. So I'm happy to do either, but I wouldn't mind having that extra notch for the last roll.
Yeah, go ahead and do it.
So I'll delete that lesson and
take a notch.
Here we go. And then on the last roll is the epilogue.
Yeah, you roll with your notches, and then the result will tell you which kind of epilogue prompt to answer.
Okay. So 2d6 plus 3. Let's go. Lucky. That's a 7. So it's 4 on the dice plus the 3. Yeah.
Okay, out of 7 to 9, narrate a scene where a lesson you've learned helps you narrowly avert a dangerous threat. So it's kind of you're narrating a near miss, a moment of danger and uncertainty where a lesson does help you.
And I think that this is the lesson that it's no vice to take pride in a legacy of excellence. And I think that this is where Kaldwyr was grappling with the abandonment of hope with his love for Nimrei. I think during that fight, when all hope, when it seems like with the monster that there's or maybe that like where the towns like let's say where they're forced to battle the townsfolk who have been corrupted by this monster.
Yeah.
There's a song is heard with a surprisingly lovely voice that echoes through across the field of a song that his grandmother had sung to him about, which it was composed for his great grandmother, the famous Knight of the Rose.
Nice.
The song of I think what did I call her? Sorry, song of Malgwyn the Rose, and
Gain the Rose.
yeah, and it's a song of courage and of humility. Not humility, sorry, courage and
Proper pride.
and pride, yeah, and justice, and it stills the battlefield for a moment. And I think that's where we'll leave here as the last note of the song echoes. We'll fade to black on Suzanne.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. I love it. Griffin Godfrey, how about you? You've got an end of session trigger, and then we do the kind of end of session choice about a lesson, and then roll for the epilogue.
My at the end of each session trigger is mark a notch if you resolved a tense situation peacefully. Well, I tried.
I think you tried at the beginning, and I think you eventually did, because when Kaldwyr was full of wrath and having trouble trusting Rennis, you actually stepped in to calm him down.
That's actually true. Okay, so I can mark one notch.
Yep. And then pop over to the end of session option where you're going to pick one of your lessons and make a choice about it. And actually, you have some interesting choices because of the new lesson you've got. If you were to choose to do something with it, or do something with another one of your lessons in light of it, there's some interesting options here.
Is it what exactly can I decide to rewrite it or to throw it away, or what exactly are my choices?
In the basic moves, there's an end of session move.
Okay.
I can copy the text of it into our chat for reference too.
Okay. I have more to learn from this lesson, upgraded from a temporary lesson to a permanent one. And
amazing. Yeah, so you're making that lesson a permanent lesson. Yeah. Amazing. And then the last thing is roll for your epilogue. So you roll with the notches that you've marked, and that'll tell us about kind of what type of scene you're supposed to narrate.
I got 2 notches, so it's 2d6 plus 2, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. 5 plus 2 is 7.
Okay. So it's the narrowly avert a dangerous threat prompt. Narrate a scene where a lesson you've learned helps you narrowly avert a dangerous threat.
Well, I guess in the future, probably when I became a knight already, there's someone, a bandit in disguise, who pleads for my help, and of course I'm like, yeah, sure, I come with you. I follow you into your dark paths into the woods or whatever. And right before they jump me, I'm like, wait a minute, there was something I learned a long time ago. And I remember what Kaldwyr told me, and this lesson comes to mind again.
Nice.
And I'm taking a step back, and you see me drawing my sword, and I'm not not afraid to use it. And that's what you see in my eyes, and while I unsheath it.
That's awesome. I love this arc through a marginally less naive Griffin that we've charted over the course of the one shot.
Just a little bit.
Nimrei, let me turn to you.
My trigger at the end of the session is mark a notch if you helped someone who seemed like an enemy. I don't believe I did that.
Not quite, no.
Nope. End of session, I believe I embodied one of my lessons more and more, and I'll take a heart, and that lesson is the truest blade is owned by unceasing vigilance and discipline.
Yeah, absolutely. You embodied that, and even kind of passed on some benefits of it to a fellow squire.
And I'm going to roll the epilogue plus notches, and I have 3.
Nice.
So my roll is a 6 plus 3 is 9.
Haha.
So narrate a scene where a lesson I've learned helps me narrowly avert a dangerous threat. And I think this is I follow this is in the future, and I think I follow a group into a group of fellow knights into a dangerous area, and we see that one of the knights does not hold has turned, and only through vigilance do I recognize that this knight does not intend goodwill for all of us.
Oh, a traitor in the ranks. Okay,
right.
That's awesome. That's great. Then, last but not least, Malgwyn, your yes, okay. Tell me about your end of session, or your end of session trigger, and then we'll go through the other steps.
Yeah, so the end of session trigger is mark a notch if you boldly shared a difficult truth, and I'm not sure that he did that. He shared some things, but the end was action, not speech.
That's true. Yeah, and you kind of you kind of hinted at some of your your dire visions without being like, hey, you guys, this is exactly what I saw.
Right. Yeah, I think for a one-shot, a character this cagey didn't quite get there. I think a longer arc would have gotten there.
Yeah, that's all right. Cool. Go ahead and pick out a lesson for the end of session choices.
Yep. And I think I'm actually going to mirror the lesson like we did in the beginning. I think the lesson no one is immune to the glamour of evil. I'm gonna say he's learned all he can from that.
Okay, yeah.
Next step to say, but I can refuse it. I'm not immune to it, but I can refuse it.
Yeah, so you can trade that in for a notch.
Right.
And then roll with your notches for the epilogue.
Yep. So that gives me 3 notches. And that was a 3 and a 3, so that gives me a 9.
Man, we all landed in that 7. Actually, several of us had 9s, meaning we were just one away from the 10 plus. That's all right. The 9 is pretty fun too. Narrate a scene where a lesson you've learned helps you narrowly avert a dangerous threat.
Right. So I think the lesson that remains then is that knowledge, even of misfortune, is a priceless gift. So I think he's drawing on these experiences where he learned information from the bandit. We learned information from talking to these people, and I think he continues to do that. As he travels around, he tries to talk to people who seem to be struggling, or even people who seem to be threatening. Probably talks to small bandits. And I think he uncovers another one of these situations where something is brewing in some little nowhere town that is about to turn very bad. These people have called up something or found something that is about to be very bad for everybody, but because he's talked to them, he hears about it just in time that he can go in and intervene and stop it.
That's great. That's lovely. Well, thank you all for playing. This has been Vow of the Knight-Aspirants at the Shared Hearth Open Gaming Weekend. I'm grateful to all of you for joining me for this one shot, and anyone who's tuned in to watch this video, thanks so much.